Restokim Grosseria. Nidius Entertainment. Wah, pakai fitur lifestyle di BCA Mobile. Semua bisa terkabul, mantul. Makanya buka tabungan dulu di BCA Mobile.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope you guys have brought your energy this morning because we have an exciting panel session. I'm Samira Shihab, CEO and co-founder of Tinkerlust.com, the leading pre-loved luxury marketplace here in Indonesia. And I am joined by my peers and marketing professionals here, co-founders. So today we are going to be discussing the power of collaboration. So collaboration is leveraging a brand's goals, visions with a partner that they want to achieve and amplify a certain vision. So, right straight off the bat, what do you guys think of the word collaboration? Maybe Marcel, let's take it away.
Yeah, what I first think about collaboration is about synergy. Basically, how to make sure that two different brands can complete each other.
And also, please introduce yourself.
Sorry.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Marcel. We invest in a lot of brands. One of them is Atmos in Indonesia and Philippines.
Okay. Rohit, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me here. My name is Rohan. I look at marketing for our Southeast Asia business at the Lego Group. Yes, the Lego toys, which everybody has been loving from the childhood and adults. We look at Southeast Asia, which is including Indonesia, which is a key growth market. Collaboration for us means excitement, ability to reach new audiences, and really elevate the brand for both partners. Thank you.
Jacqueline?
Hello, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a CEO and founder of KOKUMI Indonesia. It's basically a local bubble tea chain that already been 70 stores across Indonesia. So for me, collaboration is cooperation between brands that can beneficial to each other. Yeah, so it's like a joint promotion to create something new and limited.
Okay, so some of the keywords: synergy, joint collaborations that prove beneficial for both parties, right? So it's very interesting. I think that collaboration is a way that we can amplify businesses, put new businesses on the spotlight for sure. So for Marcel, I want to understand, what do you think has been one of your most successful collaborations?
I'm in the sneaker world or the brands world, right? One of the most successful ones is Nike with Atmos, because that actually changed the game. Atmos is the first Asian company or brands working with Nike to do this collaboration. If you see here, this is Air Max 1 with Atmos. Even until today, people are still trying to find this product, and the resale value is thousands of US dollars when the retail value is only $100, for example. But it's not only about the money itself. It's also about how they can amplify the brand itself. And yeah, these are some of the other collaboration that we think is quite successful, like Nike with Virgil Abloh Off-White, this is Adidas, Sean Waterspoon, Atmos, and also Travis Scott, this is Nike with Travis Scott, New Balance with Jown, and many other interesting collaboration. But yeah, if I have to pick one commercially and image-wise, is Atmos with Nike.
And how do you encourage them to be willing to work with Atmos? What's the trigger that makes them excited to work with your brand?
Okay, in the beginning, Atmos started in Japan with the founders is Homyo. So that's actually how they got close to the brands. They can represent what the brand back then cannot really represent on that side. So basically, let's say Adidas and Lego. Adidas is a shoe brand. Lego is a toy or IP company. That's actually how they can compete with each other. Like Adidas can get some of the Lego market, and Lego can get some of the Adidas market. Also, Louis Vuitton, for example. Back then, Louis Vuitton considered as a luxury brand. But suddenly, they actually can work with a streetwear brand like Off-White, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's about how to connect with each of different universe that's not been reached before by doing that collaboration.
How do you expand your reach with basically touching other brands, right? That's basically what you're
Yes.
saying. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to jump to Jacqueline. You did a very successful collaboration with Head in the Clouds, and it's quite interesting because it's totally two different products. You can even say two different markets, right? And you have been using their platform as well to perhaps expand your reach. So tell us about that. How did the idea come about?
So for the collaboration, we usually do collaboration with the same category, yeah? Like food, drinks and drinks. So it's just combine the taste. But for Head in the Clouds, at the first time, we want to expand our target market. So we want to expand, widen our customers. It's more cross categories, like how we see that Head in the Clouds is a cult brand for cool singers, young people. And KOKUMI is as well. KOKUMI is a more cult brand, it's not commodity, it's more like a fancy and niche and specialty brand. So I think the product market fit is okay, and then the customer behavior and attitude is okay. So we want to do the cross categories so that KOKUMI lovers can know these hype cool singers named 88 Rising, and as well as 88 Rising's fans can know these local drinks named KOKUMI.
Yeah. So Head in the Clouds is one of the hit music festivals held by 88 Rising, right? And you can say that they are the top of the hype right now. They're trendsetters. How can you look into the markets and the insights to develop collaborations for brands? So, you know, we always have, as a brand, we cannot always just look internally, but we have to analyze the external market. What are the customers and consumers talking about, and riding that wave, essentially. How did this come about? Like, how did it come about in your discussions and brainstorming to decide Head in the Clouds is your right partner?
So it's I learned from my mistakes before. So the product market fit, the consumer behavior, and the compatible target market is really important for the collaboration. So KOKUMI is a national brand. So I did many collaboration with a national personality, national brand as well. But the sales, the benefit to the sales is not as much as 88 Rising. So why is that? It's because the compatibility of the demographic. So it's more Gen Z, millennial that loves KOKUMI, and as well as 88 Rising, and the spending power. So KOKUMI is more in a class L level, so spending power in the class A level malls. So it affects the spending power. Also, I think it's the consumer behavior for the cult brand or just a convenient and common brand. What I see that from the mistakes that I did, even though the follower of national personality is much higher, but it doesn't affect on the sales. But if the compatible target market, we find the compatible target market, that it can be a very synergy and can multiply the sales.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at with your answer is that every single brand collaboration requires a go-to-market strategy. And when you go to market, you really have to understand holistically how these brands can communicate with each other to reach your overall spectrum and landscape. So if your brand and your partner's brand have two equally defining large brands, when they work together, if it is not an aligned market, it can technically be a complete failure because they're not speaking to relevant audiences. Yeah. Okay, so jumping to Rohit, right? Lego. It has been around from 1932, starting in Denmark, selling wooden toys to children. I want to ask you, as one of the most innovative brands in the world, how do you approach innovative collaborations when you are targeting not just children, but adults, while maintaining your brand equity?
Yeah, thank you, Samira. I think for us, the key principles, I think, are the same, that we want to make sure that whatever partner we go after is really relevant to our brand and to the consumers. It should not come as a surprise if to the current loyal consumers that, okay, why is this brand partnering with something but really excitement. I think the second point is that there should be mutual equity exchange between partners. So whoever we are partnering with should also benefit from our partnership as much as we do. And then the third point is that it should help us to reach some new audiences or new markets. I think if we have the slide up on the screen, then we can see there that we have recently, last week there was a Formula One in Singapore. I believe some of you were there also. And then we partnered with McLaren, which is one of the biggest racing companies. And then we ended up making the 6-meter long car with Lego bricks in which you can actually sit. It's made out of 288,000 bricks, and it's just incredible. But the trust that we showed in the partner was so high that they said, okay, we will send Lando Norris to your event. And he's an F1 driver who's an absolute star. And then he came, and then it was amazing with so much crowd. I think just to illustrate the point about being relevant. The second example I have here is from our partnership with Singapore Zoo, that you can see we had 60 dinosaurs that we made with Lego bricks that we put inside the zoo. And again, it's a place where all the kids and all families like to go, and to experience Lego built dinosaurs there was like something, again, very, very unique and very special. And then we have some more examples here in terms of our partnership with Disney, which is more than 25 years now. Star Wars, Marvel is incredible. The product portfolio is amazing, but this visual is from the content. So we have Lego Marvel content, and kids love this. And then for two brands to come together, it is very exciting for them. And it's not just Disney, but also Universal with Jurassic World, or with or other partners like Warner with DC Superhero, and so on and so forth. And then what we have is Adidas, again, a wonderful example. I'm wearing the Lego Adidas shoes, what Marcel was talking about. Again, it's something which you don't expect, right? But again, if you think about it, for us, the objective is kids should play. And Adidas, the objective is also play and sport. And then this is probably one of the best ways to develop kids. We were talking yesterday in our pre-dinner conference that and the way the education system is also there, needs to probably change a bit, and having more open-ended play. And again, this is an example where the brands can come together. And then the last example from Super Mario, this is a physical digital integration, because kids these days are on digital media, and we cannot say that, okay, this is not right because that's how they are. They love to spend the time, and instead of saying, okay, this is not right, we are saying, okay, how can we do something which can appeal to them? And this was an example where it was a physical digital integration. You all probably are aware of Super Mario play, in our childhood. What we did here was you could have a Lego set that you could build physically, but then you had to download the app and see how you're playing in the app. And the app will give you feedback, how many coins you took and how can you improve. And then you come back and play with bricks, and then you go again in the app. So this physical digital integration was, I think, one of our best innovations. And again, it's again bringing to answer your question in terms of how do we keep, is to really keep on listening to the consumer, what is relevant, go after those partnerships, making sure it's a positive equity exchange for both the partner and for us to make sure we can keep on doing it sustainably over a period of time. And then lastly, helping to reach new audiences. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So I think it's about openness and evolving with your customer insights. Yeah. So I want to ask as well, because you guys have experience from larger brands with a huge marketing budget to maybe a startup, right? And as a co-founder myself, I realized that when you are using collaborations and partnerships as a marketing tool, you can definitely save a lot of your budgeting, right? Because you use your collaborators' assets and you leverage them as your own. So I want to know, as a startup, what kind of advice would you give if a CEO were to approach a bigger brand to join them into a partnership when a startup doesn't necessarily have the assets or the brand name or, say, the reach that perhaps the larger brand has? So how would you approach that? Or Marcel or Rohit?
If I can, I think being a big brand, we can see, and this is what Nadia was talking about, right, in the chart previously, that big brands are actually not growing in Indonesia. It's the small brands which are growing.
Yeah.
Because big brands struggle at times, the fact that they might not be considered as authentic. And this is where I think a local startup, which is really being considered authentic and from the soil, I think could help a big brand in terms of reaching, again, new audiences, but done in a way which appeals more to the local populace. So I think, answering from the other side, from a big brand, I think a partnership with a startup could make a lot of sense, because it would lead, lead this authenticity or a bit of genuineness to the big brand. And from a small brand perspective, maybe.
Yeah. So basically, it's about going back to the message and staying authentic and genuine with the overall brand identity. So even if it is a small brand, if you have the same pillars, vision, mission as that bigger brand, you guys can find a platform in which you can collaborate, a place in which you can work together to find that common goal. Yeah. But maybe from the other side, your real,
from what I experienced, I think it's the power of community. So mostly of my customers is young people. So they Gen Z, millennial, between 6 to 35 years old. So being a part of community, being a part of something new and something hype is really important. And of course, the exposure, if our brand has the identity and it has a soul, has a story, other than only serve the drinks for convenience or serve the drinks only for the taste, but we also serve the happiness concept, like dreams, magic. That's why the logo is unicorn. So we create the story that when you drink KOKUMI, you will feel the magic, you will have the hope and the dreams, and it's represents in every store that we have. From the words in the stores, from how we communicate in social media. So it's not always about selling the drinks and this is our menu, but it's also many inspiring stories from young people. Now, when we have collaboration with national and legendary brand like Sosro, for example. So it's a national brand, it's more than 30 years, it's legendary. What we offer is how this legendary brand come into the younger community and becoming the hype and cool brand. So that's what we offer.
So that's how you can exchange, right? With the older generation and the young generation, there's always something that you can exchange and trade wisdom, right? Yeah. Okay, so there have been many collaborations that have been successful, but also many that maybe didn't end so well. So I wanted to tell you guys about this if you haven't heard it already. We all know one of the greatest collaborations of all time was the Kanye West, Yeezy, and Adidas deal. So in 2021 alone, they had sales of 1.7 billion. So if we're just looking from a commercial angle, we can agree that that has been successful. But earlier this year, Kanye abruptly ended his contract with Adidas, even though it was supposed to go on until 2026. So looking at all of the negative press that Adidas has gotten from the recent divorce, the breakup, what do you guys think? Essentially, is this a successful brand collaboration or is this a failure? Marcel, why don't you take it away?
Commercial wise, I still think it's a successful collaboration. It was kind of necessary at that time for Adidas to do that with Kanye. And image wise, I also don't think that it's a failure because no matter what, with that collaboration, Adidas can also uplift the image of the brand as not only a technical shoe brand, but also as a lifestyle brand. That was actually the purpose in the beginning. They had Adidas Originals, and they also wanted to reach that younger crowd on market, which they actually have right now. So I still think that is a successful collaboration.
So this is a successful collaboration,
Yeah.
okay. And what do you think Adidas will do to top this collaboration once it's ended? Like, what would your advice be to the CEO of Adidas?
It's not only for Adidas, but basically be true to the brand.
Okay.
Like we will always have to think what is the soul of our brand, and if we would like to do any collaboration, it has to fit. The
Yeah.
soul has to be able to dance with each other to synergize, right? And the driver shouldn't always be about money.
It
In the
shouldn't.
beginning, yeah, it shouldn't be. Like money is not everything. Try to do something real, something fun, something interesting, something out of the box. Back then, there's this brand called Supreme doing a collaboration with a brick, like with a brick company or a jet ski company or a ping pong table company, for example. Like maybe the sales that they get from that particular item is not going to be that high, but imagine how much press value or brand image amplification that they can get.
Yeah.
And the result will come after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's more about trying to do something which is proper for the brand, the soul, and do it right. Yeah.
So if I can take away one thing, it's not about the money,
Yes.
guys, right? It's not always about the bottom line. It's about dancing with your partner. Like any relationship that you have, it's about having fun, really enjoying the journey, right? A long-term journey. Yeah. Rohit, you had something to add.
I just want to build on, I think, exactly what Marcel said. Completely agree with the point about soul, because there will be a lot of opportunities out there that will look exciting, that can even get good sales, but it maybe is not in line with the with your brand image or brand equity. And then when you can in the short term partner, but then it can, you also have to think about your current loyal consumers and how will they react. If we will how will they feel? And sometimes you might have to let go of some partners. It might look nice, but you say I cannot. And we faced this thing in this such an example where a very prominent brand came to us and we wanted to partner, but then we, after evaluation, we felt that it was not right for brand equity, and we said no to some sales opportunity as well because it was not in line with the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
An alignment with the soul, something that is holistically easy for the brand. Because if it's not authentic, it's going to be harder and harder to actually maintain, right? So I want to go. I want to go back to Jacqueline. What do you think happened behind closed doors? What do you actually think happened when they were like, okay, this is not working? Because you've had a lot of collaborations. You've had successful ones. You've had failed ones. What do you think happened between these two, souls, these two brands, that it ultimately ended? Just an imagination.
Imagination. You mean from the Kanye one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kanye is a genius, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think this is my personal opinion because I don't know him. He's a genius, and some genius people, they have their antics. So with his issue of mental health, maybe it's possible that it's his personality that make it not professional to end the contract. But I still think it's a legendary collaboration.
Yeah.
I will buy one. Even after it stopped, I think the price will go higher because it's more rare.
Rare.
And also, as bad as the publication about Kanye, he's still an icon.
He's
But if I were a CEO of a Yeezy Adidas, I will do the collaboration with Kim later after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great idea. So I think that we can learn a lot from both successful and failed partnerships. But what do you think is, in terms of the success metric, right? If we're looking at analytics, because at the end of the day, we're all businesses. We want to look at the bottom line, even though we're having a great relationships for this partner, right? We want to look at the metrics. So what do you think are the metrics that you're looking for when you're looking for a brand? Because I know that different collaborations can be for awareness, it can be for impressions, it can be for commercial, but is there one that is more important than the other? What do you guys think? Maybe let's start with Rohit.
I think before we answer that question, we need to answer why are you going for the partnership in the first place? And if the reason is to elevate your brand equity, well, then you need to find a way to measure equity pre and post the partnership, and then see if the objective is to enter a new audience or a new market. Then I think sales in that particular audience or market could be the KPI. So I think it really depends on the partnership. And as I said before, that you need to really think about whether this partnership is really for you, and should you even do partnerships, because it takes a lot of effort to get a partnership done. You are working through your organization, the partner organization is another organization with their own layers and so on and so forth. So to come back to your question, I think it's about really depending on the objective. Like in our case, for the partnership with Formula One last week, it was the objective was not sales, but to elevate the coolness perception that consumers have of our brand. And with that, I think we have a pre-survey, and now we'll do the post, and we'll see how many points we are able to gain. I think then we are putting a KPI on that. But for example, with Disney, often the reason for the partnership is actually sales, and then we need to hit a particular sales number or sales target behind, after which we can conclude whether the partnership is successful or not. Yeah.
Yeah, from my experience, it's always about preserving the brand. So when we want to do a collaboration, again, number one for us, it's not always about the money. The measurement is not always about the money, but how can we preserve the brand or becoming more relevant by doing this collaboration? So the matrix would be, of course, awareness or engagement, or a certain connection with a certain market that we want to aim. Business will always come afterwards. Like on the more bigger scale, for some reason, for example, this A6 with Jaun. Jaun is started as an online mood board, not even a brand, like online mood board. And A6 at that time, now it's getting more popular again, but at that time, it was not as popular as Nike, Adidas, for example. They did this simple collaboration. Maybe the sales itself only for the Jaun collection is not gonna bring them a lot of money, but globally, A6 sales has actually gone up. Even New Balance with Aimee Leon d'Or, for example, and so many other interesting small collaborations in terms of revenue for that particular collab can actually bring the bigger revenue for the whole business, for the whole brand.
Yeah.
If they do it right and not pretentious, not FOMO, because the market is smart nowadays. Younger kids are smart. You cannot be deceived by, oh yeah, working with this popular IP and suddenly the brand will become cool. No, it's not gonna be like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the most successful partnerships happen almost organically, where it is so holistic with your brand that you can really be so creative because it just comes naturally to you, right? So Tinkerlust, we definitely believe in a lot of partnerships. We've partnered with influencers, we've partnered with brands, we've partnered with banks, you name it, we've done it. And there have been some successful partnerships, definitely some failures. And one of the things that I've learned is how do we engage the brands so that we serve them as well? And we don't only think about our purpose, but we also think about how to make our partner happy, just like in marriage, right? How do we make our spouse happy? It's not always about us. And so I want to ask, right, in the realm of collaborations, there's so many things that we can actually do, from influencers, to giveaways, high touch, low touch. Is it better to experiment first with a light touch or go all out, extreme, like 100%? What has been your experience? What has been working for you? Maybe we can start with Jack.
Most of the collaboration that I had, the purpose is to bring awareness and to bring sales. Sometimes influencer, they work, sometimes giveaway work, but there's some collaboration that the purpose is different than awareness and sales. So it's new purpose for us. For example, brand activation, introduce the IP, which is the unicorn.
Yeah.
I'm wearing this, the jacket is collaboration from local brand Nikki Jeans with KOKUMI. So there's they create KOKUMI logo on the back. So it's not for sales because the sales not really significant compared to the drink sales. It's also not the awareness because the awareness is very different with the social brand. But it's more expanding the IP. How we introduce that our company is not only the drinks company, but it's also the IP company. And the IP, the unicorn, can be anything. It can be game, animation, we create song for it, and we can also sell the IP for kids Tupperware, something like that.
So you're saying that in this IP, you have a story to share. You have a story to share, and you're inviting your brands, your customers, their brands, their customers to be a part of that story. And I think that all of you guys can agree that now consumers, we definitely buy into not only the product, we buy into an aspirational way of life. We aspire to be connected to a brand, and in collaborations, this is how we can tap into new markets,
the emotional connection.
The
emotional attachment that attach with the brand itself. So we want to build something that has emotional attachment and not only a commodity that people can choose over the cheaper price.
Yes, definitely. So that experience, that added, I would say, layer of emotion. Yeah. Okay, so what do you guys think? Have you thought about the long-term effects of partnerships? Like, how has it evolved in, for example, Lego? If you look back 10 years ago, maybe compared to now, how has it evolved in your eyes?
I think it has significantly evolved. I mean, to tell you a story, 25 years ago, when the global head office, a team went to the founders and said, we want to partner with Star Wars. There's a lot of this heated discussion in the meeting, like how can we partner with an IP because we are very proud of our own brand, and why do we need a partner? And so that was how it was 25 years ago on Star Wars. And now if you talk about Star Wars in the US, the Lego is almost immediately comes to mind. Even yesterday here we were talking about so many people are fans of, they built big Death Stars and Millennium Falcons in Lego bricks. I think we've come a long way in that, in terms of product partnerships. But even, I would say 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, we didn't used to have so many local partnerships. And all these are, I think it's more like, to your earlier question, you see one and you see the success and then you want to do the next. And then it's also signal to the market. You do something well, then other brands see, oh, our partnership with Lego was so successful. Okay, then let's, other people also want to do. So I think it's a journey. If somebody would start, I would say yes, please. It's definitely worth starting up, but be clear on the objective, why you are doing it, and then measure it, and then proceed. And at the same time, I think the other suggestion or tip I would have for this is to be really transparent with the partner in the discussions, right? Because the partner is also another organization which has its own layers of approvals and its own brand guidelines and its own set of uh, do's and don'ts, and then you have your own. So I think to getting both right can be a bit challenging. But if you can really bring everything to the partner and build a trust, which is very difficult, right? Because a 6-month process or so for a partnership, and in that time you have to build trust. I think the partner will reward you by doing something that you didn't expect. As in our case, I was talking about Lando's visit to our pop-up store, which was unexpected for us, but really a big gift. I don't know if that answers the question, but some.
Yeah, it answers your question. And I think, Marcel, you had something to add.
Yeah, from our experience before, one of the collaboration that has last long is Nike with Jordan, for example. They even form a brand called Jordan brand. Imagine the collaboration started around 1980s. At that time, as an influencer or famous basketball player, they actually could do a collaboration with Nike where it ended up having a brand like this, for example. This is Jordan 1 since 1985, 1980 something. They still have the same silhouette until today, and it's still very popular. And resale value of the old one is like $10,000 or even more, like auction at millions. But the way they evolve is not only to do it with Jordan himself, because young kids nowadays, oh yeah, I like to buy Jordans. Who is Jordan? Oh, he's a shoe designer. They don't even know that Michael Jordan is a basketball player, for example. But they also do Michael Jordan, Nike Jordan 1 with Virgil Abloh Off-White, for example, which is, again, can be popular, can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. So yes, long-term collaboration with influencers can actually be successful if, as he said, it serves the purpose. We do it right, both sides. And we keep on evolving, looking at what's happening right now and be relevant. Yeah, does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
definitely evolving, but also sustaining the brand,
Yes.
and hopefully that that collaboration can add and increase the brand equity throughout the times. So
Yes.
sometimes it's also a happy accident, because
Yes.
I don't think Nike perhaps could see fast forward that this would actually exist maybe 20,
Exactly.
30 years down the road, right?
Exactly.
So I think when you are approaching a brand collaboration, it is very important for you guys to stay open, but also lead with innovation as well. And don't always think about maybe the next year, but what is working for today. Stay authentic for today, because you never know that it actually can grow with your brand, and it can grow with your customers and your future customers, right? So we're about to end the session, and I want us to all walk away with some tidbits of advice. So for all of these brand owners or marketeers, how would you give them some advice or learnings about brand collaboration, about marketing in general, about amplifying their vision with, a partner or another stakeholder, and amplifying their voice into the markets and expanding their reach? Maybe we can start with Jack.
From technical point of view, I think we need to have a legal agreement, the timeline, the right team to follow up the timeline, and the planning in
So
promotion. Aligning and promotion plan in social media. Also the timeline should be short, so it can be hype, and it's very limited in terms of volume and design, and it's out of the box, creative, crazy idea.
So basically, communicate your roles, responsibilities, and align so no one is disappointed. That is one tip. That's a really great tip, especially when we have different teams that are working together, right? Rohit?
Yeah, 3 things I would say. I think the first is to be clear on the why, as I said before, and that will also make sure that you have the KPIs right, so you can measure whether it is successful or not. Second one is to be really transparent with the partner in terms of what you can do and cannot do. Sometimes it can be like a negotiation, but sometimes I think it's the balance between negotiation and collaboration in terms of how we. But the more transparency and trust we can put in the process, I think the more benefits we'll see later. And then the third point is to prepare your own organization and your own team, because these are not easy to do. And then also be clear on how this will lead Partnership can be a great way to bring people in, bring consumers in, but then later you have to continue them with your own IP or whatever, and be clear on that storyline.
Yep. So agree with that. And I had another question. How often do you do these brands collaboration, but make sure that they're always hype and trendy without, almost numbing the experience?
Exactly. I think it's a great one. I think we have also learned a bit. Sometimes we have repeated partnerships in the same area. Like we have launches of some very exciting football stadium sets. The first one was with Manchester United, super successful. Second one was with Barcelona, okay. And third one, Real Madrid, is like not performing. So I think if you repeat the partnership in the same zone or with the same area, perhaps the longevity is not so much. So you need to make sure that you're doing different partnerships in different areas. It could be racing, it could be zoos, it could be sportswear, it could be IPs. Yep. As long as you keep the mix exciting, then keep the market prepping up and anticipating what will be next, I think it will be good.
So you take a bet on all, but then when you see that they're successful, you kind of push it for further amplification. So you really follow on with your investment there. Okay, so good strategy. And Marcel?
First of all, we have to always be true to our brands first. We have to really know the soul of our brand. And when we choose our collaborators, we have to be very open-minded. And again, not to think always about the money at the front. Yeah, I mean, it's not always about the money. Try to find something exciting. Try to be relevant. And don't forget that one of the most important aspects is still the product. The product has to be good. No matter how cool the branding or collaboration is, if the product is not good, people will not enjoy it and they will not come and buy the product again. And once we find or we understand who we are, sometimes the collaboration can be really out of the box. Like it doesn't have to be like fashion brand with another fashion brand. It can be a shoe brand with a toy brand on an IP, like Lego, for example. So again, that's from our experience.
So if I can sum it up, I think from this session, walk away with this. When you are thinking about a brand collaboration, don't always just think about the commercial terms, the sales, the money, but really think about your brand's voice, your authenticity, and how you want to amplify your message. And work with a brand partner that believes in your message, that believes in your vision, and also think not only about yourself, but think about how you can also serve your partner so that you can dance, have fun, and have a relationship that spans perhaps terms and longevity, because that is what essentially all brands want, right? To capture the hearts, the minds, and the emotional connections of their consumers. So thank you so much for your wonderful contribution to this panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right.
Beli.
Gratis ongkir. Beli.
Gratis ongkir. Download beli sekarang. That's right.
Beli tepat waktu. Beli
Tepat waktu. Download beli sekarang. That's right.
Beli pasti ori.
Pasti ori. Download beli sekarang. Pasti puas, pasti beli.